Welcome to the What Is She Even Reading podcast.
I'm Claire, and I love to read.
I'm Jeremy, and I don't.
Join us each week as we read through some of today's most popular books as Jeremy discovers what is she even reading. Hello, and welcome back to What Is She Even Reading? I'm Claire.
I'm Jeremy.
And we are back. We have been gone for so long.
It's been a little while.
It's been like 6 months.
Yep.
Yikes. Sorry. We literally ghosted you. I listened to the last bit of the last episode, and I was like, we'll be back next week with chapters 15 through 18. Psych. We never showed back up.
Nope.
We had some, we were just busy. Personal stuff. But we are back, and we are changing it up just a smidge. If you might notice from the title, this is chapters 15 through, not 18, 36. We're going through the end of part 1. We're going to try to speed up this reading just for both of our sakes. I think it was too slow for you, right?
Yeah.
And then it just was taking forever.
Yeah.
But we're also going to play some fun games, maybe in the middle. We might have a couple bonus episodes. Switch it up a little bit, right?
Yep.
So, do you want to give them a hint on one of the games that we are going to play?
No.
Oh, okay.
No hints.
No hints. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. So, this is not chapters 15 through 18. This is chapters 15 through 36, which is the end of part 1. So, if you have not read that, pause, save this, and come back. You probably have, because at this point, Iron Flame has been out for
a while.
Almost a year.
9 months or something like that.
Yeah, so I feel like we're a little behind now, but the new book comes out in January, so we should be done with this book in 3 episodes, essentially. So, speeding right along. So, do we need a refresher on what happened in chapter 14?
Yes, please.
They're out in their field class.
Yeah, the RSC thing, right?
Yeah, and they were just, the dragon was there, Jack's dragon.
Oh, right.
And they were like, don't move, and someone moved.
Yeah.
And I think Thomas was his name.
I don't remember any of their names.
Well, someone died. Thomas died. We kind of left with like, is he actually dead? Yes. We get it open and Thomas is dead.
He's dead.
So, chapter 15 opens with them, they're still navigating. And
it's the next day.
Yeah, and Thomas is dead. Basically, well, we're doing less summary, but do you have any comments? Because all it is they had 2 maps, and Violet's being sketchy with her friends.
Yeah. Violet apparently is like slightly letting it slip what's actually out there. Rhiannon's questioning her because she knows Violet's not telling the truth. Yada, yada, yada. They're basically just lost in the woods.
Yeah, kind of going round and round, arguing.
Yeah.
My thing is, why are they still, there's lots of, this comment comes up several times. Why are they still drinking things that people are handing them? Right? Do they not know the basic, like, bar? Like, you don't, like the barcode. I don't even know what it's called, the rule. Like, you don't drink drinks that you don't know where they came from.
Right.
And I feel like they should be practicing that because this keeps happening to them.
Yeah.
Is this the first time?
This might actually be the first time.
Okay. Well, then they don't.
I think this is the first time.
They don't know. We know, but they don't know. Okay.
Don't know.
Well, never mind. I take that comment back. They don't know better. But the professors finally come to pick them up, and they just fly out on their dragons.
Yeah.
Pretty much the end of that.
Terrence says that the whole taking away of the bonds is new.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't like it. And like he could hear and sense her, but she could not respond.
I don't really get the point of it.
No.
Other than, I don't know. Moving along, she's going back to the archives. That guy who, like, requested that book that Jacinia reported died. He was killed. We find that out. And we find out that Jacinia hasn't been recording any of her requests. And so they're kind of like do you know, she's trying to figure out if she can trust her. She finally was like, do you know anything about the first 6 wards? And so I think Justinian is looking into that. And Violet is also back to her poisoning stuff again.
Yes.
It was very technical this time.
Yeah, it was like a 2-parter.
Yeah, it was like she had to like give her something ahead of time, and then like when she fell down, she had to blow something in her face.
Yeah, and it was
seemed ridiculous.
Yeah.
A little risky.
And she basically got the whole squad, the girls' whole squad or whatever, a little sick.
Yeah.
Because she poisoned all the pastries.
Yeah. Back to her to save Sloane. So Sloane could
barely win.
Yeah. Do you have any comments from chapter 16?
Violet has the letters that Liam wrote for Sloane.
Oh, yeah. Do you agree with her holding them over her?
I mean...
Or do you think she should just give them to her? This is kind of like a thing that people talk about. I get why honestly, she's bribing her with them, but also...
Admittedly, I had completely forgotten about it until reading my notes just now. So,
okay.
Clearly I don't have much opinions on that. Maybe it'll come back later. I don't know, but it hasn't come back up since this.
I mean, she's basically just using them to bribe her to go do things.
Yeah.
But I think it's for her own good.
Yes.
So, chapter 17, they're doing flight maneuver. Well, they're avoiding flight maneuvers because Varrish is a crazy person. They got a letter from her parents about a pamphlet circling in her village, and Violet gets all mad during the battle brief and like has to go and like let her lightning go, and then she walks into the archives or something.
Yeah.
So can't control her powers.
Yeah.
Some of these chapters, not much happened, which is why we're speeding this
and Markham,
right along.
One notable thing about the letters that Markham, thinks it's or he tells everyone that it's propaganda. Mm-hmm. Of course, Rhiannon doesn't buy that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Violet, that's why she gets so pissed off, because she's mad at Markham.
Well, and she's torn. Should she tell her friend? Should she not?
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
One thing I noted that was kind of funny was smoke was rising from her pen.
Yeah.
And she needs to cool, the steam coming out of her ears, smoke coming out of her pen.
Yeah, she really gets, she kind of has anger issues to a point.
She runs into the archives.
To calm herself.
Yeah. And Justinian is just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, she's kind of like, you're going to get us caught.
Yeah.
Chapter 19, they're doing flight maneuvers. Varrish is still mad that Andarna is not. They're so mad that he's, gonna punish her, basically. And Taryn finally is enough. Steps in, grabs Solus by his neck, and threatens to kill him. Unless Varrish, basically begs. Well, not begs, but says, humans have no authority to summon dragons. And that he has to apologize. So he basically makes him get down on his knees and apologize to Violet. It's super awkward. Which I get why he did it, because I just don't know why he wants to see Andarna so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess because she's young and gold or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But also because we know what happens at the end. Can we jump ahead to 30 chapter? This is the spoiler for up to 36, basically. Yeah. But we know that all he wants is to get Xaden. So is this all because he just wants to get Xaden in his for him to break the rules so that he can
maybe, yeah.
What's it called?
Punish him?
No, yeah, no. Interrogate.
Oh,
that's the word. Interrogate him. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
You have any other notes from that chapter?
Which
or those
chapter?
Chapters? We were on chapter 19.
19. I don't think so. I mean, frankly, I think Taryn should have just killed the dragon right there.
But would that kill Varrish?
Yes.
Well, you think he should have just killed him and stopped this whole thing?
Yeah, why not? He's the big bad
I don't know.
dragon.
Would that get Taryn in trouble with the dragon committee?
I mean, he's the biggest one. What are they going to do?
Punish him?
Again, he's the biggest one. I mean...
And that's true. Maybe he should have.
He should have.
Yeah. Chapter 20 opens with Taryn saying she will not attempt a running landing, and her arguing, and I don't understand. She's literally the most breakable person on this planet.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I for sure can do a running landing.
Yeah.
Seems silly to argue. I'd be like, cool, don't have to do that. That sounds great to me.
Yeah. I don't know what her problem is. Like, she's already got a ride in the damn saddle. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know. But they're at Samara, and this is when she finds out that Mira is stationed at Samara as well with Zayden now.
Yep.
And she kind of quizzes Mira about... I will say, I feel like Violet is like, oh, I can't tell anybody. But then she kind of hints to everyone about what's going on. Just to kind of like feel them out. Because she literally asked Mira if she saw any... It's wyvern, right? That's how you say it. Wyvern. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Of course there's not wyvern. Like, she's kind of like...
Right.
Like, oh, I'm not supposed to say anything. But let me see if they know.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? Well... it's slightly like season 1 of Stranger Things when they're talking to Mr. Clark about hypothetically.
I guess so.
If we did that, what would we need to do?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And she basically is like, you need to spend less time reading the fables and you need to get some sleep. Basically.
Yeah.
She stays with Zayden, which he makes a whole show out of like, if you want to stay in my room, we have to pretend like we're in love, dating, whatever.
Yeah.
And then your biggest gripe about this whole thing, we find out.
Yeah. So we learn what's in the alloy that powers the wards, which still seems silly. But it's a bunch of metals, ores, and the dragon eggshells that are apparently made out of metal. I think that is incredibly stupid. Like, why aren't they just made out of like normal eggshell stuff?
Well,
why are they metal? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Can dragons make metal then? Like, obviously.
Yeah. And here's something I've just thought. How do they collect this metal?
Well, when you
Do they just go and...
to their hatchling grounds.
I didn't know they were allowed there. Since
Maybe,
they never see the little ones.
But the dragons are in on this too, right?
I guess so.
So they
Maybe the
probably say,
dragons
here's
bring
our garbage, our
Here's our
dragon eggs.
eggshells."
You can take them and use them as you wish. Now, how did they figure it out?
That's a good question, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm honestly, this is my second time reading through this, and we have read this part several times in preparation for this podcast. But I don't understand how all of this... I know they get into it a little bit later on, too, but it's just a little confusing, right?
Yeah.
Because when I think of wards, I'm thinking like a force field. Up, where they can't like cross it, but obviously they can fly through it. I mean, she describes it like an umbrella, and it spokes off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
was
don't know.
part of the stupid thing where these daggers apparently can extend them.
Yeah, very confusing.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. We learned that after war games, RSC is when the most second years die. Which, again, I don't understand why they want to kill all these people all the time. I just think they need riders. They need people to fight. So why are they, like, torturing these people beyond belief?
I mean, I get you want to weed out the weak, but why not just relegate them to something else?
Yeah.
You know? Like, sorry, you didn't pass the test.
You gotta go become
be
a scribe. Or infantry. Or literally anything.
You can be the janitor.
Yeah.
For all we care.
So, any more thoughts on from the things that happened in chapter 20? It kind of was just like a lot of like, does Mira know? A lot of this has been filler.
I did say Xaden wants Violet to be a crafty housewife. Because he gave her the book for knots. Oh. It'll be fun to see if you can keep in fabric knots.
So that's what you think it's for? It's just for crafting?
Well, obviously not. There's going to be something else, but we'll just kind of see what it's like. But yeah, the metal dragon eggs was my big gripe from that one.
I have been hearing about it nonstop.
But I agree. A lot of these in here were kind of like filler, get to the point.
You learn information.
You learn some information that you promptly forget. Other than the metal dragon eggs.
Chapter 21 opens with her arm in a sling because,
of course
shocker,
it is.
She tried the rolling dismount. So I feel like Taryn probably was like, I was right. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then they both agreed that accommodations would need to be made. Like, yeah, no kidding. She basically breaks her arm just like looking at her arm. So.
Yeah.
She's practicing her knots to be a crafty housewife. They're waiting in class because leadership had to leave. Professor, now I say Deborah, but we were listening to the audiobook and it says like Devera.
Yeah.
So been saying that wrong. Fills in. And there's like an attack on the eastern wing. Blah, blah, blah. They kind of question everything. They argue back and forth. Then they're at the gym for the challenges. And then Dane challenges Violet to a challenge, I guess.
A duel,
Yeah.
a spar, a fight, I guess.
She's like freaking out.
Yeah.
And he just seems kind of like he wants to talk.
Yeah. And this is like the easiest excuse he can get without her having a way out.
Because she's basically ignoring him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we find out that her mom is the one who put the scars on Xaden's back. So we didn't know that. And then... Oh, but he didn't touch her.
No, he didn't. Rhiannon's figuring things out.
Yes, finally.
And Violet's all like, he stole something from me.
Yeah, but, she's like, oh, I can't believe she's figuring things out. But, I mean, she's basically hinting at all of this, and she's not holding her emotions very well. You know what I mean? She's not being very sly about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're all relieved that Rihanna's figuring things out. Mm-hmm. Because she's, like, torturing herself, basically, on, like, I'm lying to my friends, blah, 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 blah.
And then we guess at the end of the chapter, we do learn that Auric, or whatever his name is, the king's boy, the prince,
he knows.
He knows, so that's why he's there.
Yes. So that's like someone else in her corner, basically.
Yeah. Another one for the team.
Yeah. Chapter 22, she has a dream about that venom that keeps happening. What do you think that means? Do you think there's any significance in that?
Obviously, they're in her dreams.
That's the significance.
Mm-hmm. What's that horror movie? Where the guy's in your dreams and he kills you in your sleep?
I have no idea, but that sounds like a terrible horror movie.
Perhaps it's like that.
You think he's just going to kill her? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know.
Xaden is taking her to the Basgiath Forge.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Varrish shows up.
Yep.
And
they're getting taken.
Takes her to that terrible class.
The second part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xaden basically puts up a fight about it, but then Violet has to be like, yo, Sigel, you need to get him calmed down before he gets us caught.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of that chapter. You have any thoughts on that one?
Not really.
Well, chapter 23 is there in the torture lesson. I don't understand. This seems terrible. And I know you're supposed to hate it. But holy cow, can you imagine being like, well, this is your class today? Mm-hmm. Gonna be tortured to death.
Yeah. I say at the beginning of this chapter, I guess it's probably Grady. Mm-hmm. It says there's a patch up for grabs if you manage to escape. And no squad had managed it in the last decade. So
obviously
they were going to do it, right? Like, come on, they're the Dream Team squad.
Obviously they did. We know that.
Well, yes.
But they didn't. They only did it because someone helped them.
That's true.
So they're like, yeah, we got it. But they had some help. That's the only reason they did.
True.
So
this is the second time that they...
Eat and drink something.
Because they drink the biscuits. Or they eat the biscuits, sorry.
But they don't.
They don't drink the...
So they learn.
The water. Violet did learn. Because it smells the same, basically, yes. Right?
So they basically fake the disconnection.
Yeah. I did write down that should have been obvious that they were going to do it again.
What, the disconnection thing?
That they were going to basically roofie him again.
Yeah. I feel like they should be on their guard with that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's just torture.
Yeah, and I wrote down, like, Rhiannon's, faking it. We can't reach our dragons. You tricked us. Why don't you just shut up? Don't say anything. Just shut up.
Well, yeah, it almost seems like a little too much.
Just shut up.
Like, too much. Like,
hamming it up.
Oh, my God, you got us.
So.
But they thought they were like, the teachers were basically like, ha, 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 you are right. We did get you. So they fell for it.
Yeah. They just kind of beat them up. These two random people.
They seem to beat up Violet a lot.
Well, of
which,
course.
Again, we know that Varrish just wants to get Xaden. But they bring Dane in at the end of that chapter. And in the next chapter...
Dane starts his redemption.
Yes.
He doesn't touch her. He doesn't read it.
And Violet figures out that Varrish wants Xaden to show up, basically. Yeah. So he's like, she's like, you can't come. Dane refuses. Nolan comes in to heal her, and he, like, leaves the door open.
Or something, like the hatch on the door.
They're like, woohoo, we escaped, we're the best. Not really. You had some help, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, oh, and her dagger opens the door. That's the big thing of this chapter. Mm-hmm. Dane might be having a redemption, and her dagger, the fancy one, just like bzz, and open the door.
Yeah.
So, chapter 25, they escape, they get the patch.
Yep.
And there's the leaflets on all the chairs, and this is kind of when they're like, well, this is a big chapter in general because of something, but she kind of is like, oh, he's gonna like distract, discredit, deflect, or whatever. And it said like blue fire dragons.
Yeah.
But then, because he said a blue dragon riot, like he kind of like managed to flip it, and then everyone's like, yeah, you're right. And the distraction.
It's freaking Jack Barlow's back. Again.
Did you expect that?
No.
Are you disappointed?
Yes. Like, why has he got to come back?
Okay, so when we were listening to this in the car, I knew this was coming up. And I was like, no. I'm going to film you while you listen to this part. And you, Jeremy, threw such a fit and were like, I don't need to be filmed. I don't understand. And then you had the best reaction because you don't see it coming at all. And then you were like, yeah, I see why you might have wanted to film me. So, sorry, guys. I did not get his reaction.
It's okay.
But I read this when we were still doing Fourth Wing. And I think you were like getting dressed or something. And I was sitting in here and I read it. And I think I just was like, and you were like, what? And I couldn't tell you because you hadn't finished Fourth Wing, nor would I want to spoil it for you. But it's such a shock. Like, you see it when you go back and reread it because, like, they're like...
Like, that's what Nolan was doing.
Yeah. But, like, you don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one of the big things in this section that happened was Jack is back.
Yeah, and at the end of the part, do we still know why, or do we know why? I don't think we do. Other than just Varrish wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it. Maybe he was alive when they brought him in.
I guess so.
We just all assumed that he was dead.
Because he got crushed by a mountain.
But they basically said that he was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an experiment.
Perhaps.
Maybe they wanted him to kill Violet. I don't know. But... So So that was like the big cliffhanger of that chapter, and then the next chapter opens up, and he like is like nodding at her like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
Like, what?
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
And
But they're all like, Violet and Rihanna and everything. It's better if we just kill him.
and he's like, "Hey, good to see you." And then there was, so he kind of like, it's just like sitting down, joining the class, weird. And then they're telling them that there was an unprecedented attack at one of our largest outposts, and like Devera basically is like looking at Violet, and first off, this is so stupid to me because she's like, she scratches the left side of her neck where Zayden's relic is. Okay. I mean, I guess if you're looking in your, like, if I'm looking you in the eye and I'm like making a face, but that just seems
silly.
Yeah, like, how do you know?
Right.
Like, what if she just has an itchy neck?
She might.
I don't know. It seemed a little far-fetched. And, like, that's how you're going to, like, why not make an X with your fingers? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty easy signal.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, Violet, of course, starts freaking out. And she's trying to leave. And they're like, you can't leave. Blah, 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 blah. And, like, Bodhi basically helps her leave. He gives her his flight jacket or something.
Like that.
So, she flies all the way there. Poor Taryn is upset, right? Or do you have any more comments? I'm skipping over things.
No. Are we still in chapter 26?
We've moved on to chapter 27.
I was just going to say, some of these chapters have, drug on a bit. Big news. They're the best squad ever. And Jack's back. That's all.
That's all you have to say.
That's all I had to say for those chapters because there wasn't much.
Yeah. So they're arriving at Samara.
Yes.
And Mira is fine, who she was also worried about. And then Zayden is just
fine.
Downstairs sparring.
Yeah.
Like,
he got mended.
And
he's fine.
like, well, why are you here?
It was Taryn that dragged her along, right?
No, she was upset.
No, well, they were both, but because Taryn was worried about Sigale.
Well, I think it was both.
Well, of course, but the dragon's emotions were more powerful than hers.
No, that was the excuse that they gave to the professors. She wanted to leave.
Oh, well, they both wanted to leave.
Okay. But don't you think there should have been a way to, like, Sigale should have been like, hey, we're fine?
Yeah.
I guess they're too far apart.
Yeah, and they don't have cell phones there.
Yeah.
You can't just call them up and say,
they do have magical pencils.
Pins?
Do you think they have, like, a dragon mail service?
A carrier dragon? I don't know.
Like, how do they get things to one another?
Is there like that wouldn't be the Pony Express, but
it'd be the Dragon Express.
Some guy who just flies back and forth with
Maybe. Some poor schmuck's job. Actually, that seems like
like how is he getting the letters to her? Or does he like leave them when he's there?
I feel like he's sending them though. Must be a Dragon Express.
Must be.
Because like how else? They don't have a meal service.
True.
Like that's because they're talking in code, so he's afraid someone's gonna read them.
True.
So it's not like he's like leaving them on our desk and then being like, oh, someone might read this on your desk.
Right.
So that would have been, I guess letters take too long to get to people, but so he's fine. He's sparring Garrick. She's freaking out and he like throws her into the shower to calm her down, and then things happen.
Things get a little steamy.
Yeah, literally.
It's a little more
figuratively.
This book so far is a little more descriptive.
It's more spicy.
Yes, more spicy than the first book.
Yeah,
which it slightly came out of nowhere in this chapter. Just all of a sudden, boom in the shower, going at it.
Just you wait. Okay. But yes, that's basically it. And then he's like, "Hey, you have 3 options. We can like go back to our room, or we can go deliver these daggers." And he's like, "Oh man," because she picks the daggers, which of course she's gonna pick the daggers, right?
Yeah.
And Taryn's. Well, this is on to the next chapter. Taryn is upset that they're going. He doesn't like it. And basically it's like, you have to stay on my back, and if you get down, I will like shoot off basically and leave. Which, what a protective dad.
Yeah.
And then the Griffin Riders approach. The daggers are powering their wards.
Stupid.
And we learn about Xaden's ex-girlfriend is there. What is
Catriona.
Yeah, you didn't expect a ex-girlfriend.
No, I didn't. Seemed kind of random.
Which we already knew about, but we get to meet her, I guess,
so.
right? Because someone let it slip, right?
I think so.
Garrick, maybe, or Bodhi. One of them let it slip. But that's pretty much the end of that chapter 28.
Yeah.
29, Violet's jealous. And then, they're to get a luminary, which I still don't know if is that a person? Is that a thing? Is that what is it?
I don't know. I did, in the previous chapter, I was questioning, is Violet the luminary? Again, the question of is a person. And I was questioning, were the wards zapped? Like, do you need a lightning wielder to zap the ward stone?
Well,
Which in and of itself is kind of dumb. But
when I first read this, I thought she was going to be the luminary. I'm not saying she's not, but that's what I thought, because it just seemed like it was like going to be the natural thing. Like, oh, you can shoot lightning. You're the luminary. But I don't think, because considering this guy, I'm going to butcher his name, Dakaris, was like, oh, I'll give you the luminary if you let me watch her yield.
True.
Or wield lightning. But so I'm thinking it's a thing.
Not a person.
Yes. But for the whole time, I thought it was a person, and she was going to be the person to do it. But yeah, Xaden doesn't want her to go wield in front of this guy, because he like collects things. So he's afraid he won't let her go, basically. Xaden ends up giving her one of the daggers, which I'm like, didn't she have a dagger? Because that's what opened the thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. They go back to Basgiath. We learn that Andarna is still sleeping, and we're getting a little concerned for Andarna. Are you concerned?
No. I've said, there's a quote, hers apparently requires more than most, referring to the dreamless sleep or whatever it's called. And I said, obviously, she's going to be the most powerful ever.
You think more sleep means more
so,
powerful?
Yes, I would hope so. It just seems to make sense to me.
I thought you had more to go on.
Oh, no, not really.
Okay.
Varrish is being a jerk.
Well, yeah, she goes back, and this is when Immaterio, is that how you say his name?
Sure.
Is like, basically, you've really pissed off leadership, but here's how you can get out of this.
Yeah.
And not that I'm helping you. But you can say that your dragon's bond is too strong.
Okay.
And like, so Varrish is waiting by the door. And, they're kind of all standing up for her. Kaori is out there standing up for her. Like, how can you expect her to block Taryn out? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then Rihanna's in her room.
Yeah.
And they're just like kind of listening, and she manages to pull that dagger through the door, which, well, we find out she pulls it through the door.
I thought she had the door cracked.
Well, so that's what I thought. And then we don't really know what happened until the next chapter. But I think, or maybe she goes in there and she's like, oh, you pulled it, and she was like, you pulled it through the door, and she's like, yeah, which I thought the door was cracked too.
Maybe it wasn't.
So, but it was, because she was peeking out.
Yeah, she was.
And then the door
snooping.
slams.
Oh, maybe.
So I don't know. But she got the dagger, and basically she's like, oh, thank God you got the dagger. Here's what the dagger is for.
Yeah.
And she spills the beans.
Yeah.
Big fat mouth.
Yep.
Spills the beans.
It's for killing venom. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the next chapter is like, I tell them everything. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Don't you think she kind of can't keep her mouth shut a little bit?
I did write she's not spilling the entire can of beans.
Well, she tells them a good portion
She spills
of it.
most of the beans, but not
Well,
every
she doesn't
single
say, like,
bean.
oh, my brother is alive.
True, she doesn't say that.
Which, I don't know. Like, why not? Why
this
not
point,
say
why
that?
not?
Yeah, but... So she's like, oh, thank God we have help. They're going to read along with me to find out about these wards.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I think Rebecca Yarros. Well, okay, I'll get to the end of the summary of this chapter. They're going to have to go find these personal journals for the original 6 for these wards. And then they're at land navigation.
And somehow Riddick knows that they...
Well, I'm gonna finish the summary, and then we're gonna go back and
okay.
comment on it because I have some thoughts.
Okay.
So they're at land navigation. Jack is nice to everyone. They're keeping Zayden and Violet apart. Kind of time starts flying by. They're just reading. This would be like a montage scene in a movie. Jack is like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" You know, whatever. Riddick goes to meet Jacinia about these journals and see if she can find out about them. And Violet goes to watch, goes on watch. And she gets attacked again with Aya, I think is her name. My notes keep correcting names because they're not normal names. Like it keeps changing Riddick to Rico. And I think this was Aya, but it changed it to I. But they're attacked. Aya's dead. And Jack
saves the day.
Saves the day. But yes, so Riddick, not Rico, is like, they're going like, how would we know? We need to know the information from the original 6. And they're like, how could we find out? They were so, they probably didn't keep good records, blah, 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 blah. Violet's like, I have no idea. And Riddick is like, well, not too busy to keep personal journals in a sub-level vault, blah, 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 blah. And then he's kind of like, what, you don't know this? Oh, I read it in your mom's office when we went and stole that thing. First off, have you seen National Treasure? You.
Yes.
The audience, have you seen National Treasure? I hope so, because it is my number 1 movie from my childhood. And there's a scene where Riley is like, oh, something I know that you don't know. And this is the exact scene. I swear. It's like, she must be a National Treasure fan, because later on in the next 6 chapters, like, it's very, like, we're stealing the Declaration of Independence. And as a National Treasure nerd, it was my number 1 movie. I could quote it. I went to visit places because I love National Treasure. Nerd. I get it. But it just reads like National Treasure. And that scene right there was very like, because it's the goofy guy and Riddick is the goofy guy. And he's like, I know something you don't know, to the smart people, Violet. Nicolas Cage's character, whatever his name is. Ben.
I do not know that.
Ben. And Abigail. I do know their names. I'm trying to appear less dorky. But so, yes, that's all I have to say is that she must. Do you think she's a National Treasure fan?
I mean, it's certainly quite similar.
Okay, from that long, because that's kind of this is when it starts picking up as a. We've had a lot of filler chapters up to this point. The biggest one was Jack is alive.
Yeah.
But this is kind of where it starts to be like, everyone knows everything. Now we're working together. People are dying again. Jack is nice.
Yeah, for that I said maybe Nolan mended his attitude.
Well, he basically is like, I have a second chance at life.
Right.
Like, now we're even.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like a second chance at life if you're like, now we're even. Next time you're dead.
True.
But, yeah, do you think Jack's going to be a good guy?
I mean, I kind of hope so at this point.
You don't think he's going to come back and be evil?
I hope not. I did highlight something that I guess she said, Jacinia knows nothing about a sub-level vault. Well, Of course she doesn't. Otherwise she would have said, hey, these super secret things we're looking for might have been in, they might be in there. I don't know how to get there, so I'll have to figure that out for you.
Well, that would have been nice because it would have saved us at least 10 chapters.
It would have. If Jacinia could have just said, they might be in there. I've never been in there, but so they might be in there. I don't know what's it. They could be in there, They don't let us in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised she doesn't. I mean, I guess she's only a second year.
Yeah.
But there's only 3 years in this school. When do you start learning the secret stuff?
Obviously the third year.
I guess so.
Or maybe there's a residency after school.
If it's so secret, why does her mom have something about it? Just laying about in her office?
Because no one's supposed to go in there.
Yeah, but that seems silly.
Laying about in such that when they were in there for, 5 minutes or whatever they were.
Yeah, he's not like
they weren't
had
in there
hours
they
in there.
weren't in there for hours.
Literally
just
seems like it was like on the bulletin board, secret vault with the journals. Like,
yeah.
I don't remember where he said he read them.
Somewhere in her office, so it must have been just like on a sticky note on her desk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Their equivalent of a sticky note.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have sticky notes, probably. Well, anyways, the next chapter is when we this is when Jack saves her, but I skipped ahead a little bit. Riddick comes back and he's like, oh my God. Jacinia knows where the vault is. And this is a very short chapter as well. There's wards, and unfortunately, I can't believe we're going to be stuck here because you need someone with King Tari's bloodline. And she's like, well, thank God I know someone. So here's where Auric comes in.
Yeah, when she said they're in the royal one, referring to the royal vault, of course they are. Like, why would they be in the just...
Well, I mean, that makes sense if it's top secret.
So.
Well, that's why no one knows about it.
The king to have access.
But I'm surprised Auric didn't know about it. Like, why wasn't he the one to figure it out and be like, hey, you need some more information?
Why hadn't she...
brought him into the circle
earlier, because she knew that he knows.
Maybe because he's a first year and too busy trying not to die.
True.
Because has threshing happened? I think threshing just happened
in these last chapters.
Yeah, because she leaves threshing. To go on watch or whatever.
And that's where they get attacked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so threshing happens for all those people. They get certain dragons. I don't remember what.
It's not important.
But so that's pretty much it. Xaden's back in the next chapter. And they're going to break into the archives tonight to steal the Declaration of the Independence.
That's exactly what I wrote.
And they have to ask Auric for his help. And we find out that Xaden killed his brother, Alec. First off, do they not have more creative names? Auric and Alec?
Well, Auric's not his real name, remember?
Oh, yeah.
It was something else. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't.
I thought Auric was his middle name.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
You're right. Okay, I'll take it back. I'll take back the original. It just seems Auric and Alec is like a mouthful. They're so similar. I'm getting confused.
Yeah. But we do learn that Auric doesn't like his daddy.
Yes. Well, that's why he's there.
Yes.
And he's basically like, well, now that I've bonded a dragon, he can't do anything about it. But basically they're they're bumping heads. Mm-hmm. Auric and Xaden.
Yeah.
Because Xaden killed his brother. I think we found out about this at the at threshing, at Xaden's threshing. Do we know that yet?
No, what?
Oh crap! When Xaden killed his brother.
I feel like we learned that in here.
Okay, good. I didn't spoil anything.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, anyways, Jacinia takes them into the archives, and they got 45 minutes until they're basically dead.
Yeah.
Again, very National Treasure. Kind of. But, so I don't really write all of this stuff down, but they get to the end of these things. Xaden's with them. He, knocks some people unconscious, and his shadows, which I don't really get. How can he hide in the shadows if there are no shadows? It seems like it'd be a bright hallway, you know? Maybe it's not, because don't you think the shadows are kind of silly?
They're
he's
supposed to be cool.
Yeah, but he can, blend into the shadows. They get to the royal vault, And she's like, here's what you're looking for, Arik, whatever his name is. And he's like, oh, forget that. And he like grabs her hand and pulls her in with him. Have I skipped ahead?
You're kind of skipping around. Because right here in chapter 33 is where we learn that he killed his brother.
Yeah, I've moved on to.
Yeah, you jumped way ahead.
Okay, well, do you have any more thoughts on chapter 33?
No.
Okay, do you have any chapters on chapter 34? We're in chapter 34. They're walking through the
when
hallways.
they go through, have we gotten into the vault and they've gone through the wards?
Yeah, I just said
Okay,
that
all right.
Arik grabs Violet and shoves her in there with him.
She gets a bunch of blisters on her hand and they start popping and that's gross.
No, that's when Arik grabs the glass thing.
Oh, okay, sorry. Jeez. You're going all over the place.
Well, you're ahead of me now.
Okay.
So we're at the point where Arik has just pulled Violet in.
Okay.
To the room. So Zayden's on the outside, freaking out.
Okay.
You know where we're at in the story?
I think so.
Zayden's like, I'm going to bring me in. And they're just like combing through the books.
Okay, I guess I didn't.
You probably didn't highlight. I mean, it was basically them. Yes. She was like, oh, wow, this would be interesting. If only I could sit here and read about this. Girl, move on. Yeah. No one cares about it. She's one particular book. Did I write it down? No.
Oh.
No, I
pull
didn't.
A promising crack-spine tome, but it's a weather almanac?
Yeah, and she was like, oh, how interesting. No. They're looking, and finally, it's like in the middle of the freaking room under like a curtain, right? Which would be the first thing that I would move.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Whatever. And that's when he puts his hand in there and he pulls it out and he gets welts all over it.
Right.
Because he's like, oh, they must know I wasn't my dad. And then they're like running to get out of this place because I think does it seal and like the air gets trapped?
Something like that.
It's very intense.
Yeah.
For this school.
Yeah.
But they barely make it out and it kind of ends on the cliffhanger of like, do they like, because Zayden pushes Violet through and then Zayden like waits for Arik. So like, do they make it through or not? Dun dun dun. Guess what?
They made it through.
They made it through. With like no time to spare. And they're basically like, oh, good job. We learn about one of the girls' signets. She can cast herself.
We already knew about her. The astral projection or whatever. Oh. But she can project herself looking like other someone else.
Okay, so we didn't know that.
Projected herself looking like, I think, two of them.
Yeah, because she's like, cool. I can't get Imogen's pink hair correct or whatever. Yeah. They say their tearful goodbye. Goodbye.
Just make out in the hallway.
Yeah. Zayden leaves with one of the books. And Violet's like in the courtyard just like, we've made it, like la la la. And Nolan shows up and is like, oh, I have some of your favorite lemonade. And she freaking drinks it. What?
Stupid. Like, stupid.
One time she's good and she's like, oh, I didn't drink it. The next time she drinks it. Stop drinking these random things. Now, I realize maybe this has only happened to them now twice.
Yeah, and I guess it's never come from Nolan.
But still, I guess it's because she trusts Nolan, and then she's like, I can't believe you, and Varrish is there.
Yeah.
He, recognized her with her little scribe pouch.
Yeah, the bag that the book was in was a scribe bag or something, so obviously she wasn't supposed to have that.
Anything else on chapter 34? Is this when you were like, oh crap?
A little. So.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, we opened 35 with them down in the basement, and she basically is just tortured.
Yeah, they threw her in the brig.
Yeah. They break a lot of things, basically, trying to figure out. They have a lie detector person down there who can, like...
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, I technically haven't examined that book, you know, like, she's skirting the truth a little bit to avoid it. But then Ghost Liam shows up. I know people loved Liam. I didn't, honestly, I know it was her mind, and it was like a comfort thing, but I personally was like, I was confused when I read this the first time. I was like, is he alive? Because Jack had come back.
Has he just been in the basement the whole time?
That's what I was kind of like, has he been alive this whole time? Like, I couldn't tell until they weren't talking to him, so I was like, obviously he's dead. Yeah. Like, he's just, like, in her head.
Ghost Liam.
Like.
Ghost Denny.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. But I just thought it was kind of weird, personally.
Yeah.
I know I think she just wanted to bring him back because everyone loved Liam. And I liked Liam too. But it just felt a little strange.
Weird and random.
For real, I thought half the time, I was like, is he really there or not? Like, I thought he was going to be like, psych, I'm alive the whole time. We learned that Varrish just is trying to use her as a trap for Xaden. And that's, like, kind of why he had it out for her, because he wants to interrogate him. Dane shows up again. And he actually sees her memories this time. And so she's like, oh, I'm going to give up. I'm so sorry. Blah, blah. And she forces him to watch what she wants him to. Yeah. And then he's kind of like, I can't believe you've been smuggling out these weapons. So she thinks he failed. But he's like, let me see this dagger to prove that this is the same thing. And then he, like, turns around and stabs Varrish. And grabs Violet, and they're trying to escape. And then Xaden shows up. Yeah. Do you have any comments on this whole section?
I mean, those...
Ghost Liam.
I thought... They really, like, beat the ever-loving hell out of her. And have Nolan just, like, mend her, beat her again, mend her,
It was kind of hard to read. I didn't write it down because it seemed... It was kind of brutal. Like, these people are just mean.
Yeah, Dane does have a line of, you should have trusted me, Violet. I think that was him, right? Yeah. And she's like, come on, bud. Yeah.
But, Varrish, we learned his signet is, I see people's weakness. Which I was like, that is the stupidest signet I have ever heard. Like, that's the big, ooh, I see people's weakness. I don't, like, what do you mean? Like, you see what... I don't know.
Is it just like a word above their head? Like, who was it that didn't like snakes? Doesn't like afraid of snakes.
I don't know. Or, like, can he just, like, read their mind?
Bad knees.
I think it's like he can read their mind.
I guess so.
Because he's like, Xaden's, what is it? Mental blocks shift, like, went down one day. Briefly, and he's like, it was just enough to know his weakness, which I think was Violet.
Probably.
But, anyways, I thought it was kind of like, wah, wah, wah. Like, basically, I'm just an expert on torturing people. Okay. I mean, I guess on the battlefield that would be good. But, like, what if someone's weakness is their mom and then you're on the battlefield? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't help me in this instance.
I mean, it would help in an interrogation.
Yeah, I guess that's his whole thing is he's just interrogating. But if you're, whatever. So the last chapter of this book, a lot happens. Yeah. Honestly, the last 4 chapters of this book, a lot happens. But, so Xaden shows up. Yep. He's killed Nora, which I think is the truth person.
I think so. It seems he's killed a few people to get here.
Yeah. And then Violet kills Varrish with the help of Xaden. Like, they push in the dagger together. How because romantic. She's so weak. I thought it was a little, like, just kill him.
But she wanted to be the one to kill him.
Okay. And apparently the way they have pulled leadership, because this whole time they're like, Varrish, we need to go. They're calling for all leadership. Is they've been dropping Wyvern on the borders dead or something. So Xaden's like, oh, I would have gotten here sooner, but we had to track them all down to kill them or something. Her mom shows up finally and is like, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. And we learned that she pulled a favor from Xaden to keep her safe and basically pushed her into the Riders Quadrant to avoid getting Violet killed later on down the road when she learned the truth. And what's the guy in the Scribe Quadrant? Markham like tried to bring her in and then she disagreed and they would just kill her.
Right.
So she pushed her into the Riders Quadrant to save her life, quote unquote. So she called in a favor to Xaden and was like, you need to keep her safe from other people trying to kill her, basically. How would you feel as Violet?
I mean,
would you feel betrayed by Xaden?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I'd be like, do you only like me because your mom?
Because my mom told you to. Is this an arranged marriage?
Because I mean, she just said to keep. She did say the romance kind of added a wrench in my plans. I wasn't expecting that nor wanting that, but whatever. But that's pretty much the gist of all that. She gives her the antidote for the lemonade, the signet thing.
Yep.
And they're supposed to leave, and Violet's like, no, we need to ask everyone if they want to go with us. So they go and like call a big assembly, and Dane has turned on them, obviously. So Dane is on Violet and Xaden's side now.
Yep.
And like the dragons are showing, like deciding whether they want to go or not. A couple of the faculty go with them, like Devera.
Yep, she goes.
And 200 dragons and 101 riders leave. So, and pretty much they land in front of Ryerson House. Her brother comes out and is like, what the heck did you do? And she's like, I thought you needed riders. And that's the end of the part. So what are your thoughts on this chapter?
Well, we also learned that Devera is the one who left those notes about the blue fire dragon. We learned someone can counter signets. Who is that?
Bodhi? Garrick.
Oh, yeah, it's one of them.
I get them confused. Which one's the cousin?
Bodhi.
Garrick's the cousin?
No.
Bodhi's the cousin?
Bodhi's the cousin.
Okay.
Garrick's his friend or whatever.
Yeah, because he's like, you taught us too well, Professor.
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts?
So I think their time at Basgiath is done.
How did you know that was going to be my question? I literally have it written down. Is our time at Basgiath done?
I don't know. I didn't look at it that. My guess is yeah.
You
at least for
back?
right now. Probably for the rest of the book, maybe. At least for a little while. I think it'd be pretty hard to just come back to class. You know? So.
Yeah, so what do you think is going to happen in the next section? Because this kind of...
We got to learn how to weave those stupid wards.
Yeah.
My guess is you need someone with shadows and someone with lightning.
You think the two of them are
Yes,
going to be?
of course. It's going to be something stupid like that. Or something random that I don't expect. Or something even just stupider. Like, oh, all you got to do is, I don't know, look at it and say...
Look at it.
And say, weave...
I don't think it's
you need
that
a little
easy.
dragon to come up and lick the stone. Something stupid like that.
Speaking of dragons, do you think we'll see Andarna?
We better. Well, we see her hooked to Taryn.
Yeah, but do you think she's going to, like, wake back up in
She
this
better.
book?
That'd be stupid if
what if she doesn't?
That'd be dumb.
Like, are you concerned? If
A waste
she
of a
hasn't
dragon if she doesn't wake up.
Well, she might wake up in the next book.
I don't want to wait till the next book. I'm sure she'll come and save the day at the end of the book or something.
Do you think she's going to have her time stopping abilities?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe
You
not.
have no predictions.
I have no idea what to even predict with her.
Yeah, this kind of ended like with a nice little bow, like they flew off into the distance. It honestly could have been a book.
Yeah, it could have.
Now we had a lot of not wasted, we got information, but a lot of it was...
There was a lot of, oh, I love him, but I'm not going to tell him yet.
Yeah, she finally does. We didn't say it. She does admit it finally that I love you.
Yeah, a lot of kind of filler chapters in here.
Yeah, which that's kind of why we chose to speed this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because some of these chapters we had nothing to talk about other than just to nitpick things.
Or like one chapter, Jack came back. Oh, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it really, like, the section that we just read was Jack is back, they steal the things, and they leave the school.
And they kill Varrish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much, like, kind of the gist of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nolan portrays her mom.
Yeah, where's he in all of this? Did he go with them, or?
I don't think so. I mean, he portrayed them. Why would he go with them?
True.
But her mom didn't.
Yeah.
When I read this the first time, I felt like all of the predictions that people had going into this book, that like Rebecca Yarros has been like listening to them and basically just like, nope. Because a lot of them were like kind of like ticked off almost, like, oh no, her mom didn't try to kill her. When, like, there was very clear things that were, like, explained throughout this section. And I feel like I talked about this at some point, maybe. But it felt very like she was listening to everyone's predictions and was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go ahead and clear this up.
Yeah.
But I think the first section was a little slow. Plus, Xaden and Violet weren't together the whole time.
Yeah.
So I enjoy them more like together, working together. But plus Varrish was the perfect villain. You weren't supposed to like him.
True.
He reminded me a lot of McGonagall.
The wrong professor.
No, the
Umbridge, right?
Umbridge, yeah. She reminded me a lot of, or he reminded me a lot of her.
Yeah.
Because you were just supposed to hate him.
Yeah.
And he was mean and kind of for no reason other than he was just mean. So.
Yeah. Something I've just thought of. Are we going to see Dane's dad again? Is he going to show back up?
What do you think of Dane's redemption arc?
I'm on board with it.
You like it?
I think it's appropriate.
Do you think it's true?
I hope so. If not, then they need to kill him. It's done.
Do you think some people think the real enemies to lovers is Dane and Violet? Do you think that's true?
I don't know. Maybe.
Do you want it to be true?
I don't care. Maybe.
You don't care?
No, I like Satan.
So, any other predictions for this next section? What happened to her sister?
Oh, I don't know. She's probably still at the outpost.
You think her mom is going to come along?
She'll come back in some point in the book, I bet.
You think?
But I think immediately they're going to have to figure out how to weave the wards or whatever. Have a little studying montage and trying and failing. And
yeah, we're kind of in a new section of the world.
Yeah. Maybe she'll finally do the running dismount. But she doesn't have to worry. Probably doesn't have to worry about that requirement for graduation anymore.
If it's not a requirement, then
I mean, there's no more graduation. I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think they're just like gonna put them out in the world?
I don't know. Maybe it seems again a little difficult to kind of be like, all right, everyone, come back to class.
Yeah.
So.
Are you excited for the next part 2?
Yes.
Okay, so we will apologize if this section was a little rough because I think it might have been.
Yeah, we kind of read, took notes, and
I've read this section now probably 4 times.
I've listened to part of it a couple of times.
Yeah, so sorry. We will get better at this as we are shifting our strategy. But hopefully you like this better because it moves along a little faster So next, we promise, pinky swear, that we will be back for real this time. The next week is going to be Iron Flame chapter 37 through 51. So a big chunk. But then the next one is 51 or 52 through 66, which ends the book. So there's only 3 more episodes of Iron Flame. And then I think, well, maybe we'll announce that later, what book we're going to go to next. So, but do you have any final thoughts on part 1? I mean, if you go back, I mean, we opened with them back at Basgiath and now they're gone. So,
yeah.
No other thoughts?
No.
Not right now?
Not really. I'm sure everyone's going to be shocked that Brennan is alive.
Yeah.
So, but.
Well, if y'all have any questions you want me to ask Jeremy for his predictions, send them in, right? Because I wrote down 2 and then promptly forgot to think of more. So, next section, we will be back with chapters 37 through 51. Make sure to go follow us on Instagram. Leave us a review. And hey, we're on YouTube. No video, but you can listen to us on YouTube now. So go subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
Well, again, we pinky promise we will be back next week, right? With the next section. And we're excited. Are you excited to be back reading it?
I am.
Are you excited to finish this out?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think that's it for us.
Okay.
We'll see y'all next week. Okay. Bye.